I want to ask a couple questions about some of the companies you've started, but I want to start with a very different question first, which is if people listening could shadow you for a day from the moment you wake up until you go to bed, as creepy as that might be, what do you think they would be most surprised by? And I think what I'm looking for there is things that are interesting about the way you live your life, habits, routines.
I think people would be surprised by two things. One, at least right now, I think they would be surprised by how I'm not like working all of the time. I think that, I work hard and I try and like work very focused and deeply when I do. But certainly I have heard from like multiple people that I know that are like, you're doing a lot of stuff and yet like you're still playing pickleball and you're still like going to the gym with friends and have a social life and all this stuff. So I think that's one thing. I think the other thing is I'm not a very systematic person. Like I think that there's a lot of ink spilled about productivity and the best tools and the best methods and all this sort of stuff. And basically like I have a cup of coffee in the morning. I like write 6 to-dos per day on like a piece of paper in a notebook that I carry with me all the time. And I just like try and crank through that and I handle a bunch of email inputs and stuff like that all the time. I don't really do anything crazy. I think probably the craziest thing is like I don't do any sort of like Adderall, Ritalin, Vyvanse, any of those things. And the closest thing that I do to really taking like a performance enhancing substance, I would say, is I'll occasionally use like a ketone ester or something like that to help with like focus and sort of knocking out like a chunk of writing or a chunk of deep thinking or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, huge +1 to ketone ester. I think it's amazing. Usually take it before I do one of these podcasts just for, mental performance.
Nice. I probably should.
I mean, I would say, so I had the founder, Michael Brandt of HVMN on the podcast. And one of the examples he shared I thought was fascinating was, that the U.S. military, particularly the Navy SEALs, were looking at doing it mostly for the mental benefits, because what they would have SEALs basically do is just insanely intense work. So an example would be, climbing up at altitude over the course of say 4 or 5 hours, and your body's then in this energy deprived state. And they found with ketones that basically the mental acuity was still there, which obviously is important. Like you get to your mission site, you still have something to do that you haven't done yet. Anyway, so just kind of fascinating tangent. I want to ask one question. You talked about that your friends are surprised by how unbusy you are. What do you credit that to? Is it that you've built a great team that can take a lot of the heavy lifting? Is it just the approach you take to the businesses you run?
I think two things. I think that like one, we have an amazing team across all the companies. The teams are fantastic. And we have leaders that are like very responsible and are incentivized. They have ownership, and it's theirs. And so I definitely think that that's like people are just number one. And I think that finding the right people and giving them ownership and both authority and responsibility, and then shared incentives is like a huge chunk of it. The second thing I would say is that just outside of hiring good people, like I have a philosophy that I want to do this kind of stuff. Like I want to start companies. I want to try and like make a dent in the food system and improve like the trajectory of health in the US. And I think that to do that, like I have to be healthy myself. And I think that this is like such a big problem that I think it'll take, 30, 40, 50 years to try and like even make a dent in it, if I even can. And so I think that I'm approaching this much more as like a marathon, not a sprint. And I think that if I am healthy and happy and balanced and not killing myself, I could probably kill myself for like a decade. I don't know that I can do it for 30 years. And so I'm sort of trying to like build a life that I'm both happy with and excited by, but also one that can lead to larger amounts of output over a sustained period, as opposed to like a bunch of output in a very short period where I then like burn out or get depressed or, get sick or whatever.
Yeah, I love that perspective. In your newsletter, you talk a lot about compounding and compounding in multiple areas of your life. So it seems like that clearly threads that needle. If your goal is to compound, you want to do that over a really long period of time. You can't burn yourself out. You can't treat it like it's a sprint. It doesn't lead anywhere great.